Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. Our Court TV cameras are covering the biggest cases across the nation. In Iowa, the defendant declines to testify, and both the state and defense rest its case in day 6 of the machete murder plot trial of Dakota Van Patten. He's accused of helping his friend murder his ex-girlfriend, Melody Hoffman, in February of 2024. And in Tennessee, the victim's mother testifies in the murder trial of Brandon Isabel. He's accused of killing his 2-day-old daughter and her 27-year-old mother in 2022. And in Mississippi, jurors hear a chilling 911 call in the plotting parent murder trial of Jeffrey Spence. Spence is facing murder charges in the death of Kirby Carpenter. Carpenter had just welcomed a child with Spence's daughter. Now, he was found dead outside of his home, and prosecutors say Jeff Spence plotted with his wife and daughter to kill him in an attempt to steal money from him. Now, Spence's wife, Karen, and his daughter, Caitlyn, have both pleaded guilty to lesser charges, and Caitlyn is expected to testify against her father. We're still not sure about Karen, the wife. And in the months before Carpenter's murder, Caitlyn had given birth to the couple's first child, and her parents drove 10 hours from Virginia to help out. Well, today, the prosecutor played that 911 call made by Caitlyn Spence, who reported finding Carpenter's body on December 2nd. Let's go to court now for the investigator's testimony, still on direct examination.
On the other side of the garbage can. On the opposite side where the mess was, they were on the other side.
They weren't on his person?
No.
The house keys?
No.
All right, can you go back to Carson, the garbage can? I'm sorry.
I can come project this one.
I'm going to hand you the exhibit of the house keys. Now, can you step down and show the jury where you found these?
I can.
Carson, if you could just show those keys. So looking at the screen, now we're projecting 2S on the screen. Do you see that?
I do.
All right, we've already oriented the jury to that earlier picture of the garbage can we did not know.
Yes.
This white area depicted in this exhibit, what is that?
That's the plastic garbage can.
And then behind the garbage can were the
House keys.
where you found the keys.
Yes.
And how were you able to determine that they were the keys for the house?
We tried one of them and opened the door.
Looking at 2T and zoom in, Carson. Why did you take this photograph?
It appeared to be blood in the carport.
All right. Had it been, is that the condition that it was in when you took the photograph?
Yes.
And did you see it when you first?
It was covered up by the curtain when we first got there.
Okay. What curtain?
Another curtain.
All right.
There were sets of curtains, all like the one that was covering his body in the corner of the carport.
Now, you found the keys, you found the 22 Magnum shells. You did not find a 22 Magnum revolver.
I did not.
Was there anything else that you were looking for that Kirby was known to carry with him routinely?
A satchel.
Why were you looking for that satchel?
Because Kirby's family, well, particularly Maddie Jane, had told me that he always has a satchel with him that has a large amounts of money and or gold and silver that he's traded for when it, in the last day or so.
What kind of satchel did they describe to you?
It was some kind of little bag that held over your shoulder. I guess it'd be kind of like a man purse or something, I guess.
Okay. And was that something he wore for fashion or for business?
For business.
And we've heard a lot of testimony, uncontradicted, what kind of business he was in. And he carried that with him as part of his business day to day.
He did.
And what would he carry in that bag?
I was told large amounts of money, maybe gold or silver.
Hearsay, told, he doesn't know. Rephrase your question.
As part of your investigation, were you able to determine what he typically carried in that, without saying what anybody told you, what he normally carried in that bag?
Money.
And was that consistent with the business he was in?
It was.
Is that consistent with anybody who's in that business?
I'm assuming, yes.
Don't assume. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
I don't know that then for sure.
Did you find a bag in the truck?
No.
Did you find a bag in the carport?
No.
Did you search the house?
Best we could.
Did you find a bag?
No.
If I have this marked for you have any questions? Sorry. Do you have any questions? Ask that this be proceeded.
Good three, the vehicle.
All right. Looking at Exhibit 3, where did you get this?
I didn't get it. The family gave it to the DA's office
All right.
for trial.
Can you identify it?
Kirby Carpenter, a picture of him.
When he was alive?
Yes.
And when you observed him on the 2nd of December of 2022, was he alive?
No.
Okay. Now, what else did you do as part of your investigation on the 2nd?
We searched for camera footage.
Okay. Why did you search for camera footage?
Because there was cameras on the house that should have captured the murder.
One camera?
There's multiple cameras.
2 cameras?
There's more than that. I don't remember the exact number. It was several cameras on the house.
More than 2?
Yes.
And they were all over the house?
Yes.
Or outside of the house?
Outside, yes.
All right. Do you know what kind of system it was?
Blink.
All right. And why would that have been significant to you on December the 2nd, seeing those cameras outside?
There was one in the carport that would have captured everything.
All right. All right. So, did you follow that lead?
I did.
All right. Tell the jury about that.
We went in and started trying to find the sink box and couldn't find it anywhere.
When did you do that?
That night, that evening, we pulled up his phone also and to try to see if it recorded anything on his phone. And it did not. It showed a notification where we went on the phone, but that's all it showed.
Now, you looked in the living room where the mantle was. You had the TV, the mantle, and that was where you were told that blink box was located?
Yes.
And you did not find that blink box?
No.
The condition of the home on the outside, we've seen photographs of that. A lot of valuables outside, a lot of valuables inside.
Yes.
Would it surprise you that somebody that had valuables outside their home or inside in the quantities that were at the Carpenter home would have working surveillance?
Yes, he would.
At the time that you arrived on December the 2nd, 2022, were there any surveillance cameras that were operable?
None that we could find.
And the controller to that video surveillance system, where was that located?
The one we did find it?
Inside the house or outside the house?
Inside the house.
Inside the house. Okay.
All right, so either somebody disabled those cameras or he just failed to put them on. Sometimes that's the case as well. All right, we're going to take a break here, but before we do, I want to turn to Florida, where the penalty phase got underway for the man convicted of killing his pregnant mistress. Jose Soto Escalera is fighting to save his life, and the jury must decide if he lives or dies. Last week, the jury deliberated for just an hour before finding Soto Escalera guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Tanya Wise and their unborn child. Well, today, the victim's son addressed the court, talking about how hard it's been for his mother to miss his milestones. Now, tomorrow, actually, let's listen to that sound.
I wish that she could have met my first girlfriend and watched me perform in my musical performances for my school. I'm in marching band. My mom was also musically inclined. She played the clarinet, and I hope that she would be proud of who I've become. On that day, I've lost more than a mother. I also lost the chance to have my mother watch me grow, and I hope that she's proud of me for coming here and talking about how this has affected me. I choose to honor my mother because she was one of the most, if not the most important people who has been in my life.
Kudos to that young man. Now, tomorrow, the defense will continue to present witnesses, including family members of the defendant, and then the jury will decide Soto Escalera's fate. All right, coming up next here on CourtTV, the investigator in the plotting parents murder trial faces cross-examination. Jeffrey Spence's lawyer grills him about where he found the items at the scene in an attempt to stir signs of reasonable doubt for this jury. More testimony coming out of Mississippi straight ahead. Keep it here on your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, did a father kill his daughter's boyfriend? We'll dive deeper into the plotting parents' murder trial as this case gets underway.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on CourtTV.
Covering the country's biggest trials before we bring you inside the courtroom. Plus, the true crime cases you want to know more about in our daily spotlight.
Opening statements with Julie Grant, mornings at 8/7 Central on CourtTV.
All right, before we head back to court, I want to bring in our guest for this hour. Joining us, Los Angeles-based criminal defense attorney Silva Megadici. Silva, great to see you. As always, thank you so much for joining me here on the program. And I want to talk about something that bothered me about that last part of the testimony of the witness on the stand. They're talking about a satchel, right? This satchel. And one of the things that the defense said in their opening statement is that the state is fitting the facts to this defendant. And this is a prime example for me. They're talking about a satchel, and the reason they're talking about a satchel is because, according to the mother of the victim, he always carried a satchel, and there was no satchel at the scene, so obviously somebody took a satchel. That bothered me. How do we know he had a satchel? Did they verify he had a satchel? Great, mom said he usually carries one, but do we know he had one? And of course, they did find a satchel at some point with the defendant, so they're gonna say, that was the satchel? I mean, it bothers me. I wonder why the defense didn't sort of jump on that and say speculation or hearsay or something.
Yeah, I think they're setting it up. First of all, Michael, thank you so much for having me. You know I adore you so much. Look, Michael, there's a couple of things here. It goes back to the defense's opening statement, which was very well done. Because, you know, when you first read about this case, you think it's a black and white case. Easy case, automatic guilty, 1 hour verdict. But then you heard that defense opening statement, and the amount of doubt that he instilled in my brain unexpectedly, I think this is what's also giving discomfort about this satchel. Doesn't it sound like this investigator, all of this evidence, he's saying, essentially shows you that it's someone who knew the victim, someone who had a stake with the victim, not a normal robbery, because look at everything that stayed behind, including cash in the pocket. It sounds a little bit too much neatly fit in an envelope, doesn't it? And if you have a really discerning juror who remembers the defense's opening statement, the prosecution really has a burden here to show not speculation, but legitimate pinpointed evidence. And I think the defense counsel's very smart here not to object, because it could possibly bolster his cross-examination even more, because the doors are wide open to a lot of reasonable doubt here. Just as you feel uncomfortable, I think the defense attorney, who is incredibly impressive, I think he's going to make us feel even more uncomfortable about this satchel.
Fair enough. All right, so let's head back into court now for more testimony from this investigator, Chris McAllister. And now he is, in fact, on cross-examination.
You cannot say where these items came from unless the receipts you identified and the check you identified, okay? Everything else, could have bought it from me.
Could have.
Could have bought it from another store.
Could have.
Could have bought it from an auction.
Could have.
Well, did.
Not probable.
Do you see in box, whichever one is 302, all the auction numbers?
There is some of that in there.
There sure is. And that would be legitimate purchase, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Well, if it wasn't bought at an auction, but went and bought it from a metal dealer in Memphis or a metal dealer in Washington, D.C., you can't distinguish that, can you?
I can't, no.
Well, no. Who can? Who can? I'm asking you, who can?
I don't know.
Do we have him as a witness?
I don't know.
Everything in all of these boxes could be the product of legitimate business and commercial dealings, couldn't it?
Could be.
Yeah. And you're not saying just because they were in a lockbox, just because it had items in a lockbox, doesn't make it illegal, does it?
No, sir.
Isn't it true that a lot of what's here belongs to Caitlyn Spence?
Some of the storage unit stuff does.
Matter of fact, have you left a lot of the storage unit stuff? Or you didn't, I'm sorry. I'm not, don't mean to confuse you with Smith County of Virginia. A lot of stuff was left there. Clothing, furniture. Are you aware of that?
Left where? I'm sorry.
In the storage unit.
Oh, I don't know. It's possible. Well, up there, I don't know.
You're going to have those people here tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. They're supposed to be here.
I'll make sure I talk to them about that. Now, you've got an item. Kirby had a way of writing a check. He owes you money. He writes you a check. You want cash, you give him the check back, and he gives you the cash.
That's what I understood.
That's what this check appears to be, right?
That's what I would figure it would be.
Well, I mean, that check has no value to Jeff Spence, right?
No.
And his possession of it could be nothing more than an inadvertent grab of something on a legitimate business deal, because he did business with Kirby. You knew that, didn't you?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Did Caitlyn tell you that?
No, didn't tell me that.
All right. Well, there's no reason for Jeff Spence to take a check that has no value to him, right?
I don't think so. Wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Okay, thank you. And the same thing would be true with whatever bank deposits there are, bank slips, right?
The bank slip. Yeah, the bank slips could be. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that could be something.
Could have just inadvertently ended up in Jeff Spence's possession because of just grabbing in a very cluttered house. Did you tell me before previous pretrial hearings that this place was cluttered?
Yes.
Receipts,
yes.
Papers, everywhere is what you told me.
Yes.
Every room, right?
Well, there's some worse than others, yes.
Particularly the safe room.
Yes.
It would be easy, don't you think, to inadvertently pick up something that I don't really want. Did you find the bags that Kirby would put stuff in when Jeff would buy it?
I did not.
A container? A box or a container? No?
No. I'm not sure what you're asking.
If I bought some coins or some gold coins or some silver dollars from Kirby, it's got to put them in something.
Oh, yes, sir.
Not just stuff them in my pocket.
Yes.
You didn't find any containers? Or Virginia didn't find any containers and put them in the boxes?
I don't guess. I don't guess they did.
You didn't find any?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about David Barnes. Just make sure I've got it laid out for the jury. David Barnes got in trouble.
All right, so the defense raising doubt, suggesting that the stuff found on Jeff Spence could have gotten a number of ways, even legitimately. He did business at times with the defendant. With the victim. That's what they're suggesting. All right, we'll take a break here. Coming up next on Court TV, a new witness takes the stand. The victim's estate attorney testifies about how he learned that his client had died and what the alleged perpetrators were doing with Carpenter's bags of silver. More testimony in the plotting parent murder trial right after this break. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. Now back to Mississippi for day one of testimony in the plotting parents murder trial for Jeffrey Spence. The defendant is accused of plotting to kill his daughter's boyfriend and the father of her newborn child, Kirby Carpenter. Prosecutors say Spence shot him during a robbery. Carpenter was known to carry large amounts of money. His mother told officers that he always carried a bag with him containing almost $200,000 to $300,000 in cash, silver, or gold. Now, when Carpenter was found, he had less than $3,000 cash on him. Spence's wife, Karen, and daughter, Caitlyn, have already agreed to a plea deal. They are expected to testify against him, want to go back into court now for a key part of the cross-examination of this investigator. Here he's being asked about David Barnes. David Barnes used to work for Kirby Carpenter. He was a burglar as well. That's sort of his sideline. When he got arrested, he was facing serious time, and he told a story about the defendant and some things that were said at the funeral of Kirby Carpenter that really led to the defendant's arrest. Let's take a listen.
23 squares to talk to him.
I may have.
Okay. Told you a second time, I don't know anything. I don't have anything to tell you, right?
I guess, yeah.
And then you got to investigating 4 burglaries in Faulkner. I don't know the other places, I forget. 4 businesses in Tippah County. And lo and behold, it's the career criminal at it again. And you brought him in on November the 2nd or 3rd of 2023. And he'd had enough, and he wanted to come up with something that would help him, right?
I don't know that.
Well, that's when he started telling you about this funeral business, right?
He told MBI and Tommy Mason about it. He didn't tell me.
He told the investigative team.
Investigators, yes.
Yeah, he told the investigative team, guess what I've got for you? Even though he had an opportunity in December of 22 to say it. Once earlier in 23, a second time in 23, and only after he got arrested and he knows he's facing life as he comes up with the story, right?
He'd come up with it after he was arrested, but I don't think that was the reason he told it.
Y'all arrested him in November of 23, right?
Yes.
And that's when he came up with the story about the funeral home statement.
That's correct.
You've been working on this case since December of 22, right?
Yes, sir.
Still investigating it, right?
For the most part, yeah, but not going over stuff.
Well, you're the case agent, or you told me once before you're the case agent.
I am.
Still the case agent, right?
Yes, sir.
And you know that Caitlyn Spence has recently given a statement saying to y'all, when I say y'all, I mean the investigative team, that what David Barnes says was said in the funeral home is a lie.
That's correct.
So you got one witness saying X and another witness saying no, it's not X, it's Y. No, it's not true. You've got competing witnesses. Am I right?
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Who do we believe? Who do we believe?
I believe David.
You believe David?
I do.
No, you believe David in spite of the circumstances when he makes the statement telling you for over a year that he didn't know anything.
Yeah, have you watched the video?
I've watched every dadgum one of them. Yes.
Based on his video, I believe he's telling the truth.
You think he's telling the truth in his videos about Kirby's meth dealing?
I don't know. I've never heard that
You
before.
thought he was telling the truth. You think he was telling the truth about that Kirby's meth dealing?
I don't know. I mean, I've never heard that on Kirby. Never.
You heard it from David?
Well, yeah, I heard it during his testimony that time.
You heard it in your, you got about 10 videos, and I've watched every one of them.
Yes, sir.
And he talks about meth dealing, right? He talks about gun dealing, right?
I believe I remember the gun dealing part.
Yeah. Stolen guns, right?
Yes.
He talks about pills, right?
Yes.
So he's telling you that Kirby was a drug dealer, not just a businessman, a drug dealer, right?
I guess.
Come on, Chris.
I guess.
Oh, check that out. So this David Barnes, very important for the state's case. It wasn't until after he told police what he told them that Jeff Spence was arrested. What he told them was said at the funeral was things got out of hand and Jeff killed him. That's what he said he overheard. Now, Caitlyn says he's a liar. And of course, this guy, the guy on the stand, Mr. McAllister, said he believes him based on the way he told him. But there were other things he said, as you heard. What he said was he also told him that the victim was also a drug dealer and a gun dealer. So a lot to work with there, and little problems for the state as well. Let's go back inside that courtroom now. We're going to hear testimony from the victim's estate attorney. His name is Bart Adams.
That's a very fair statement.
Would it surprise you that he would carry a lot of cash in that satchel?
It would not surprise me at all.
He also carried a firearm, did he not?
He did.
Does that surprise you?
Not at all. Seems like he always kept a pistol in his pocket.
Do you know why he did that?
I guess personal protection. He and I never discussed that.
All right. Well, would you be surprised somebody that carries around a lot of cash or valuables would carry a firearm?
That would not surprise me at all.
All right, let's just move on to how did you learn that Kirby had been killed or Kirby was dead? And when did you learn that?
I believe it was Sunday evening, would have been December the 4th of 2022. I believe it was Sunday. It may have been Saturday. I'm not positive on the date. But the sheriff's department called me. I get these calls all the time being the prosecutor. They want to know what to do.
Yeah, you're county prosecutor.
That's
right?
correct, yes. So they called me asking what to do. Somebody was at Kirby's house loading bags of silver and other coins into the back of a vehicle. They didn't know whether they should let these people go, leave them there, arrest somebody. They didn't know what to do. At that point in time, nobody knew who it belonged to. I didn't know who was arguing. I don't ask who these people are when they call me with those kind of questions. Sure. I intentionally don't ask that so that it doesn't taint my answer. My answer to them was, if there's two parties there and both of them are saying it's theirs, it's a civil matter. They need to go see a lawyer tomorrow morning. After we had the conversation, had completed all that, I asked them who they were talking about, and that's when it may have been Chris McAllister that I talked to. I can't remember for sure. That's when they told me that it was Kirby Carpenter.
All right, I want to turn now to another trial that we've been monitoring here at CourtTV, this one out of Memphis, Tennessee. Brandon Isabel is accused of murdering his child's mother, then throwing their 2-day-old daughter in the Mississippi River more than 3 years ago. Earlier today, the victim's mother, April Campbell, she took the witness stand and was really emotional as she recalled the day that she learned that her daughter, Danielle, was pregnant.
You testified that you only got to see her for about an hour, right?
Right.
When y'all put her in the car seat, your son put her in the car seat. How was she doing?
She was fine. She was still warm. I just didn't want her to leave.
And is that the last time that you saw her?
That was the last time we saw her.
Have you seen her since?
No.
Now later, Memphis police showed surveillance video of the defendant's car at Mud River where the baby was allegedly thrown.
In this footage, are there many other vehicles around driving up and down Island Drive?
No, sir. This appears to be the only vehicle.
Are there many white sedans?
This appears to be the only one.
About how many passes does this white sedan make up and down Island Drive?
So it appears to go, come onto the island, go all the way to the north, then drive all the way to the south, then go back up to the north before leaving the island.
What time is it now on the cameras?
So it is 11:20 p.m.
And during the course of this talking, there's a vehicle taking another loop. You're traveling southbound again, and now northbound?
That is correct.
What time is it now?
So it's 11:35 p.m.
All right, that case will continue tomorrow. If convicted, Brandon Isabel faces life in prison. We'll be right back, so keep it here on your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, did a father kill his daughter's boyfriend? We'll dive deeper into the plotting parents' murder trial as this case gets underway.
Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan tonight at 8/7 Central, only on CourtTV.
The brutal murders of 2 young girls.
Delphi is not one of those places where this would happen.
I killed Abby and Lodi.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands. Season premieres Saturday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific.
Only on CourtTV.
We're watching the plotting parent murder trial of Jeffrey Spence in Mississippi. On the stand now is the victim's estate attorney, and he's testifying about what he did when he learned that Kirby Carpenter had died.
So at the time you received the call, well, we gave them the advice that this property that had being taken or loaded into the car. Did you know Kirby had died then by that time?
No.
Okay. All right, now at some point, you opened an estate for Kirby, is that correct?
That's correct. And that conversation that I had, I believe, was on a Sunday evening, and then Monday morning I met with Kirby's mother and sister.
That would be Maddie Jane and Casey?
That's correct, and then opened the estate later that day.
All right, now, was a will ever located?
No, nobody could find a will anywhere when they came to me, and then in all my searching afterwards, I never found a will.
You do a lot of estate work.
I have in the past. I try to limit that too. I try to stay out of Chancery Court as much as I can.
Okay.
Yes.
I understand. But just for the jury's purpose, this is what we call dying intestate without a will.
That's correct. Yes.
All right. Now, what significance does that have to do as far as heirs go?
If you die intestate, your heirs are set by statute. So Kirby was not married, so everything he had would go to his children.
All right, and that would be Towns?
Towns and Enola.
All right, they would be the sole and only heirs.
That's correct.
And I believe, and we don't have an executor in an intestate estate, we have an administrator. Is
That's
that right?
correct.
And
An
who's named
executor is only if there's a will.
Right, and who was named the administrator?
Maddie Jane.
And that is by an order entered by a chancellor, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right. Now, as part of the administrator's duty and the estate attorney's duty, is part of that, is one of the duties to marshal what we call marshaling the assets of the estate?
That's correct. Once somebody is appointed as the administrator, they are responsible for the assets of the estate.
All right, and let me back up a little bit. You became aware at the time that some people had taken some things, various people had taken various items that would have been part of Kirby's estate. Is that right?
That's correct, yes. Maddie Jane had told me that she had taken some of the items, and that I believe Caitlyn and possibly Jeff and Karen had taken some of the items from the house.
And what were your instructions to these people?
They needed to bring all of that stuff back so that it could be secured and inventoried.
All right. So that's what you do. As you're marshaling the estates, the assets of the estate, you're inventorying.
That's right, yeah. I began an inventory the following day. So I opened the estate on Monday, began doing an inventory on Tuesday the 6th.
And I believe you got your two boys to help you one night, is that right?
I did. I think that was probably the following week. The first time I went out to Kirby's house on the 6th, I had no idea the amount of stuff we were talking about. Okay. I don't know why. I didn't expect everything that was there to be there.
All right. So you went out there on the 6th?
That's correct.
All right. And who was there? Who was at the house at that time?
Maddie Jane was there. I believe Casey was there. Caitlyn was there. Caitlyn's mother was there, and Enola was there. It seems like there were a couple of other people around. I don't recall who they were.
All right. Could you generally describe the inside of the house?
It was a lot. There was
orderly?
stuff everywhere.
Was it tidy, orderly?
No, there was stuff everywhere. I mean, their bedroom was clothing. There was items all over the dresser, the chest of drawers. There was a room in the back that had a safe. I call it the safe room. There were like 3 safes in there, and then another little locking cabinet. And you had to pick and choose where you even walked to get in there.
All right.
And stuff was literally stacked to the ceiling.
All right. And I believe there were 2 or 3 trailers outside.
There was as much stuff outside as there was inside. The garage, when you walk into the house, there's a 2-car garage, and that garage.
Garage or carport?
It was a garage.
Okay.
It had garage doors. And one side of that garage was just packed full of stuff. The other side, there was a walkway, but other than the walkway, it was packed full of stuff. That's how you went in. That's how most people seem to be going in the house. That's how I went in the house when I got there. Outside was, I guess, a portable carport that had a vehicle. It had a car under it. It had a motorcycle maybe under it. Seems like there were a bunch of gas cans, just stuff. There was a camper in the driveway.
All right, so it sounds like things were a bit of a mess. This was all happening about 4 days after the body was found on December 2nd. Sounds like he went out there December 6th. Joining us to discuss is Los Angeles-based criminal defense attorney Silva Megadici. And Silva, want to talk about what we just heard here. It sounded to me like he said, according to he didn't have a will, this guy who died, everything would have went to the daughter that he had just had with Caitlyn. Sounded like, according to statute, it goes to his kids. Which to me is helpful to the defense, suggesting why would Caitlyn get together with her family to do something like this when she stands to pretty much benefit now anyway through the daughter?
Right. I mean, it's tough, Michael, because if this family plotted to kill him and have all of the money go to the daughter, right, then again, it could also be motive for the prosecution, right, to get the money sooner through the murder. But it's really weird, because what keeps on going on in my mind is this guy lived a very reckless lifestyle, this victim, of a lot of money, a lot of cash on him, way more cash than anyone should have on them, right? A gun on his person, because obviously he was an easy target for so many. Then the cluttered house, garbage everywhere, valuables everywhere. Michael, doesn't it seem like anyone that knew this guy, he would be an easy target, wouldn't he? That's the doubt that I'm getting in my mind. How many people could have benefited from his demise, from this very extravagant lifestyle? A lot of it does appear to, the defense can really argue a lot of this to their advantage. So I think the prosecution's really waiting for their cup to be filled by Caitlyn when she testifies tomorrow. But again, her testimony is also going to be full of defense fodder because of the sweet deal she got. So it's a very interesting tennis match right now that could go either way.
But let's talk about Caitlyn real quick, right? Caitlyn is someone who just had a baby daughter, right? Baby's probably 1 or 2 years old by this time. Obviously, if you offer her a deal, I think the family would all be on the same page saying, look, okay, you want to testify, because you get to stay with your child. She is in such a vulnerable position. Again, I think her credibility is going to become a real problem for the state.
Oh, Michael, and the deal is so sweet, right? For the daughter and the mother, jurors always discern those agreements, because had that agreement not be there, would they be testifying against their father, AKA spouse, right? So it opens up so much discussion, because doesn't it look like everything has a reason behind it? the defense has a lot to argue.
Yeah, a lot of reasonable doubt here, I think. All right, Silva, thank you so much for being with me tonight. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll see you again real soon. Coming up next, we're going to review the 3 things that we've learned today in the cases that we've been covering from coast to coast right here on Court TV. Here are 3 things that we've learned on this Wednesday. First, in Kansas, a man was arrested at Travis Kelce's home after jumping a fence to serve Taylor Swift's deposition papers from Justin Baldoni. Now, Swift earlier this month agreed to provide a deposition in the case between Baldoni and actor Blake Lively, who originally filed a lawsuit against Baldoni alleging sexual assault on the set of a movie. Swift and Kelce were believed to be inside that Kansas home at the time Justin Lee Fisher hopped the fence and was later arrested. Second, the family of a boy killed in a hyperbaric chamber explosion has filed a $100 million lawsuit. 5-year-old Thomas Cooper died in January when the chamber he was in caught fire and exploded during his oxygen therapy session. Thomas's parents filed the civil lawsuit against the Oxford Center, its employees, and a hyperbaric chamber manufacturer. And third, a judge has scolded the Justice Department over public statements they made about Luigi Mangione. The judge said that the Justice Department officials could face court-imposed sanctions for public comments about the prosecution of Mangione in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson if they don't limit what they say. This comes after Mangione's lawyers asked the judge to bar prosecutors from seeking the death penalty after authorities prejudiced the case by publicly declaring their desire to see him executed. I'm Michael Ayala. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much, as always, for being with me. Coming up next on 48 Hours, a report about Marty Hill, who was savagely beaten in her Kansas home. She was found by police barely breathing and covered in blood. And ahead at 8